Alright, what's up guys? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the long range meta. We're going to be comparing the TTKs of everything you guys need to know about long range as far as ARs and LMGs on what weapons you guys should be using. We're going to take a look at Rebirth, the 250 health. Then we have Caldera at 300 health because there's a lot of guns that are really good at 250. A lot of guns you're probably using that are really bad at 250. There's a very good amount of guns that at 300 health are actually extremely good you probably never heard of. So we're going to compare all the TTK's ranges, and I'm going to be ranking them in order of all the top weapons at 250 and 300 health. So if you guys enjoy the video, make sure you guys hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel down below, and leave a comment what your guys' current long range choice is in game. I have all the data. I'm going to be showcasing it in a chart, which is just going to make it easier for you guys to see. As you guys know. Alright, so this is everything. I've compiled all the data. This is just TTKs. We'll cover the mobility and the other stuff in just a second, then go over the reviews. But we have your base time to kills is 250 health, and then obviously what it does in its second range. We have the range, the velocity, the overall fire of the guns. Then we have the guns at 300 health and 300 health in the second range. So the guns in green are those that are the most popular. A lot of you guys know there's a website that I've always been using, which is this website, Warzone Ranked. Basically shows you guys what are the most popular weapons. You guys can see the MP40 is still number one. I still think it's the best SMG. The Cooper Carbine is still number one ranked AR. Automaton number 2, XM4 3, AK 4, and Bren 5, with the SCD at 6. Those are the top 6 most popular long range weapons. So we go back through and look. I have them marked in green. The guns I have in blue, or whatever color this is to you, are the most underrated variants. So we take a look at your base TTK and we sort from fastest to slowest. As a giant surprise for you, the Automaton is dead last. When I was compiling all this data and I realized this, I am confused on why the Automaton is still ranked in the top tier. It has a good fire rate, has good bullet velocity, it has good range. But if there are 20 guns that kill faster, if you are in a one-on-one gunfight, you're going to lose every single time. The SCG-44 is the second slowest. Like, these are all the most popular, best, fastest killing guns. These are the 2 worst guns you can use. The ranges are excellent. 35 meters is average, 43 is above average. This is versus 250 health on Rebirth, so definitely 100% recommend switching up here. This is, like I said, in Rebirth. We have the Stoner, the PK, the Odin in the top 3, with the Cooper Carbine in 4th, and the Cold War AK in 5th. So definitely the top tier weapon. Number 1, you should be using the Cooper Carbine just because it shreds. With the compressed rounds, I think your TTK goes like 550, which is the fastest killing gun in the game. Anyone that's going to compete with it, the AK is definitely top tier, top 5. And then we have the Bren right here, average, dead center in the middle. So these guns all drop off, which probably you're never going to be using in a Rebirth. And you sort in your second TTKs. You still have the Bruin, the Stoner, and the Foul. The Foul is absolutely incredible, and the PK. So all the LMGs are always in the top. The one standout you'll see here is, once again, is that Cold War AK. Still in the top 6. The one gun that did stand out is the Farah. It's 675 in its base range, which is trash. So is the EM2. But they have the same TTK at distance. So anywhere beyond 37 meters, both these guns are going to kill incredibly fast. But if that TTK in the long range is, the first range is on the slow end, definitely not worth using. The Bren right here in the middle is completely average. One massive benefit of the Bren is up to 50 meters. So that's 644 MB average, but it's carrying all at the 50 meters, which is longer than I think every single gun on this list, which is where the Bren is going to be top tier in that rank. And then we have, once again, the Automaton and the Cooper Carbine on the low end. The Automaton being bottom 3 every time. I'm not sure why people still use it. Volk is trash, and the Bar is even worse. So SEG also bottom tier. The ones in blue are standouts. You guys can see I have the Foul, Bruin, and Stoner 3 of the 4 top most popular weapons, XM4, Vargo, AMAX, are average. Like I said, when you sort by that range, the Cooper Carbine is atrocious. The AK is average, the STG-44 is below average, and the Automaton is very good. Like I said, that Bruin Mark 9 technically is 36 meters. It's where your headshot is going to drop off, your damage is going to drop off, but you guys can see this is at the very top. We have the Stoner and the Bruin, which are 2 guns I highly recommend have rated in the top tier. So we go through and we're going to sort A to Z. TTK, 300 health up to the base range. Number 1 gun is the NZ41. This was a massive surprise to me. This gun has a decent fire rate, about 600, which is about equal to that of wherever the Cold War AK is. Right here, 600. But it kills 100 milliseconds faster because I think it does 1 less bolt to kill. Does not kill very good at range. Then this is 300 health. The FAL is number 2. Does 720 millisecond TTK in its max range, which is in a class of its own. There's nothing that's going to kill in under 800 milliseconds in their farthest range. Once again, we have the Bruin here. I did forget to note, excuse me, I did not note the Grav. The Grav is God tier in 300 health. This is the only regular AR with regular base recoil. Like, it doesn't have some stupid LMG mobility stats or has NZ41 after your couple shots recoil. Horrible. The Grav is top tier as a AR and should definitely go up the ranks in the if you're playing Caldera. Once again, we have the PK and the Bruin, always going to be up there. These are incredible guns killing wise, and then you'll see why the Cooper is top tier with the Bren is because they are top tier fastest killing. We have guns like the Scar and the Odin, which absolutely get no use, which are ranked up there. So these are like 5 and 6 fastest killing. And the reason I have these 3 guns here highlighted once again is the XM4 is about tied with the Cooper and the Bren at 750, the Stoner at 750, and the AMAX at 750. These guns are all incredibly good in Caldera. And the reason I do have these included is because, once again, if we go reevaluate and we take a look at that Automaton, this is once again the slowest killing gun up to its base range, and the STG's even worse. Then these are the only few guns that drop into the 1,000 mark. So if we sort even the next one, you guys can see the Carbine, the STG, and the Automaton still on the very bottom here. So definitely, if you're playing Caldera, switch it up. Try an AMAX. Try the Stoner. The Stoner, I think, is very good as a Cold War gun. Even that Grav is top tier. XM4 in the base range, good. Still average in the middle. But the Bren is average TTK wise in its base range, but that carries out that 50 meters. And then even above that, it's still the fastest killing gun. So the Bren in 300 health game modes will always be king until they nerf it. 100% based on that range, that TTK. Second TTK, the Bren is still probably the best gun used on regular Caldera. The Cooper Carbine is incredible, but has 50% of the range that the Bren does. So Bren, to me, on Caldera is number 1. No doubt, number 1 ranked. When we go through and sort back to the Rebirth, Cooper Carbine is number 1. I'm not really sure what to say is top 3, top 4. I have to go through and finalize all my data and wrap it up in the end of the video and tell you guys. But Bren is number 1 on 300 health. Cooper Carbine is number 1 on 250 health. So now if we go through, we're going to take a look at their mobility stats and recoil to determine which one of these guns is actually best. So what we're going to quickly take a look at is the mobility stats of these top tier long range weapons. We've deleted all the ones that I think are relevant and only have included the guns you should actually be using. So obviously mobility includes how fast you ADS, how fast you reload, how fast the gun moves, because certain guns have a really good movement speed for ARs, and some guns like the Bren have atrocious, which helps to win gunfights sometimes. Then we have stray speeds, which helps your ability to avoid getting shot in a gunfight. So you guys can see if we go through sort A to Z, ADS speed, the Cooper Carbine is excellent, STG-44 is excellent, and the NZ-41 is actually almost SMG level ADS. with obviously the Bruin, Stoner, and Bren being LMGs on the absolute low end, as expected. XM4 is an incredible gun, I think, in 300 health, but ADS is on the low end with the 60 round mag, so definitely doesn't help when it's ranked in between all those LMGs. So the next one is going to be reload speed. The Vargo, which helps a lot in my opinion, is one of the fastest. AK is also very good, one of the fastest. ADS is also very, very good. M13 has a good ADS, a good reload speed. The only real thing stands out here is that Grav, which, like I said, was a highly underrated weapon, but 2.7 seconds is atrocious for an AR. You guys can see that ranging from 1.2 to 2.2. So 1.7 would be average, so it's a full second slower than average. Then obviously we have the PKM, which is why people don't use it. 7 seconds to reload is very long. The Bren is average for an LMG at 3.5. The one standout though would be that Bruin Mark 9 60 round mag, has AR level reload speed. Movement speed, all the Cold War ARs are going to be at the very, very top. Sorting A to Z, you guys can see we have the Vargo, the Grav, XM4, AK, NZ41 in the top 5. As you expected, the Bren and the PKM LMG at the very bottom. M4 is really, really bad movement speed wise, which is why you always paired it with like a MP5 or something that had really good movement speed. All the other guns pretty much average. Just standouts would be those Cold War ARs, the Vargo, Grav, AK, XM4. To have a really good movement speed, in my opinion, helps a lot in the late game to move faster. So, excuse me, I think I did this wrong. Sort A to Z. And then your stray speed. Automaton, we're using that skeletal stock at 66%. Excellent. Cooper Carbine being Vanguard gun. 57% is very, very good. This is actually SMG level, and the Automaton is top tier SMG level. NZ41 at 50% is extremely good. Average here would be about 38, 39, 40%. So 50% is 10% faster than average. SCG being Vanguard gun at 44%, still excellent. So as expected, Stoner, PKM on the low end. The Bren is average. Anything from 37 to 42% is average. So pretty much all these guns are average. The only standouts would be the Stoner and the PK on the bottom. NZ41, Carbine, Automaton in the top tier. So when you take a look at that Cooper Carbine, you have the fastest ADS besides NZ41. Reload is below average. Movement is below average, but the stray speed is excellent, which helps it in the close range. NZ41 has a top tier ADS, average reload, average movement, top tier stray speed. Automaton is top tier stray speed, average reload, below average ADS, below average movement. So the absolute only real standout here for me is usually always the XM4. Has a good reload, a good strafe, and a good movement. And the Vargo, in my opinion, ADS is okay. The reload is the fastest. The movement speed is the fastest. Stray speed is also still top tier. So those are the guns I think stand out, is those Cold War guns. The AK is down here. 350, 1.3, 94, 36. Stray speed is low end, but everything else is excellent. So movement speed, as expected. Mobility wise, as expected. The LMGs are trash. The Automaton, the Vanguard ARs are excellent, and the Cold War guns are excellent. So no real standouts here in mobility. I just always like to talk about it because you can see where guns kind of rank. What makes the Cooper Carbine so good is the ADS is top tier and the fastest. So on the screen, you guys will see a chart. This is the fastest killing guns, and they're basically where the ranges are, where they end. Verse 250 health. So this is Rebirth Island. Absolute standout you can see here if you want to use it, but you probably won't. Number one, when we have the PKM up to 45 meters, will be the fastest killing gun, with the Odin and Stoner being a close second and third. So PKM, Odin, Stoner. Once we get that out of the way, up to the 25 meter mark, we have that Cooper Carbine, which is probably the most popular weapon. Cold War AK, NZ41, QBZ, Ram, and Scar. These are the fastest killing guns. I think all these guns are top tier and viable. Maybe besides the Scar, because it only has a 30 round mag. In that mid-range, though, a reason why the Cold War AK should be ranked in your top tier list if you're playing Rebirth. All up to 37 meters is probably going to be the fastest killing gun. There's no gun that you're going to be competing against that will kill faster besides the Cooper Carbine. We do have the QBZ sneaking in here. This is a low-key kind of subtle gun. That's a Cold War version, so it's got good mobility. Definitely top tier. Then we've got that Ram 7, Grav, and Kilo. And then we have the Bren. So Bren is sliding in there in one of the top 6-7 fastest killing guns up to the 37 meters. Once we now drop off, we still have that QBZ in there, which is why it's a top tier weapon. It has good range, in my opinion, pretty good accuracy, good mobility. Then we got that Ram and Scar, Kilo, Bren, Grau. These are all of the fastest killing guns in that mid-range. The 45 meter marks, pretty much where all the guns drop off. Kilo is now top 2 with the Bren. Actually kills slightly, I think, equal. 4 millisecond difference between that and the Bren. Then we got the EM2, the Farah. Cold War AK comes back in with the QBZ. These are still fast firing, fast killing guns. Basically, for Rebirth, you're going to notice we got that AK. Cold War AK, I think, is probably the best gun besides the carbine and the Bren. Ram 7's always going to be in this chart as one of the fastest killing guns. 60 plus meters you're probably never going to do. So up to that 50 meter mark, we got the Ram 7 in there a lot. Cold War AK is always going to be in there. One of the guns that was surprising me was that QBZ. Fast killing gun, definitely pretty viable. But the basic standout here, I think probably no one's going to use the Odin. It's just the recoil is pretty much atrocious, hard to use. So you click that, delete that out of there. You got the PK and the Stoner. And with that QBZ there in the middle, basically when you're going to go through and look, you got the AK, the AK, the AK, and the AK. AK is probably, in my opinion, top 2 Rebirth long-range meta. Cooper Carbine is going to be number 1. I'll put the Ram 7 as probably 3rd. In my top 5, I'm going to be rounding it out with, obviously, the Bren. Just TTK-wise, QBZ is definitely up there. If it's in the top here and it's tied, I think a little bit of a difference versus the AK. It's definitely a top-tier weapon. Majority of players don't use it because the recoil is a little bit iffy, but it's definitely top tier. So 250 health, those are the fastest killing weapons. Now we're going to take a look at 300 health. All right, so now taking a look at Caldera lobbies. We have the same ranges. This is pretty much averages for all of the guns. In that base range, which is probably majority of the time you're using the SMG, the Z41 is still top tier. The one standout you'll notice here is we once again always have the PK and the Bruin. Majority of players should know these are always going to be the top tier weapons. We do have the Grav. The Grav is the 4th fastest killing gun. As soon as we lose that NZ41 of the carbine, is now the fastest killing AR, even faster than that of the Bren, which is obviously the meta weapon. So up to 37 meters against the majority of your gunfights, that Grav is going to be the fastest killing gun. We do have the Bren. We got the Stoner XM4 C58 AMAX. So the one gun I did mention, like I said, the XM4 and the Grav are probably the 2 best ARs for Caldera, besides obviously the Bren and the carbine. The AMAX definitely took a huge range into the top tier, and the Stoner. So when you go through and look at everything, these are all going to be the fastest killing guns. We have the Cooper Carbine, which is only good up to 25 meters versus 300 health. It's incredible, but I think the Bren is probably the best long-range weapon for Caldera. You guys can see where it's ranked here, and then up to 45 meters. There's very few guns that are going to kill faster than it. And then 45 to 50 is the fastest killing gun. No gun kills faster from 45 to 50 meters. And then beyond 60 meters plus, only 3 guns have the potential to kill faster. So anywhere beyond 45 meters, you're going to have the fastest killing gun with the Bren, and pretty much anywhere beyond 37 meters. So Bren is always going to be ranked my number 1 gun in Caldera. I do have the Grav as number 2. This is an incredibly good gun up to that 37 meter mark, and then anywhere beyond 60 meters is still only number 2 behind the AMAX C58 and the Bren. So the Grav is definitely my 2nd ranked weapon. XM4 is going to go into the top tier for me with the Stoner. They have about equal TTKs up to their base range. So I have the XM4 in 3rd as probably the 3rd best weapon to use. And then 4th, technically 4th, we're going to put the Stoner. Has God tier range, 60 meters. You guys can see anywhere beyond that 37 meter mark is about equal to the Bren and TTK. but the Bren's going to have better recoil. So 4th out of the Stoner. 5th, as surprising as it is, I got the C58 or CR56 AMAX. You guys can see where it's sitting right now. Anywhere beyond 45-50 meters is still top tier. Anywhere beyond 60 meters is killing as fast as the Brent. So in my top 5, the AMAX is surprising there for Caldera. You guys know the AMAX was king for like 3 to 6 months of Verdansk. So I have the AMAX up there. So number 1, Bren. Number 2, Grav. Number 3, what did I say? Stoner X and 4 together, 4-5. And top 5 gun, we have the CR56 AMAX. So if you're not using these guns, definitely need to. These are all good guns as far as mobility, recoil, damage, all that stuff. The reason I had them included, this is a shortened list. I took away the guns you're not going to use, like the FAL and the Odin, which are god tier, but guns that have practicality, definitely top tier. You can see that Bren is always going to be number 1. There's nothing that's going to compete with it. The FAR is the fastest beyond 60 meters, but it will not be in this top tier ever up to the 50 meter mark, which is why it's not included, except for like 1 point here. So anywhere up to 45 meters, the FAR is not the fastest, which is why I don't have it included. The Ram 7 is top tier on here. Also a very good gun, but mobility wise is atrocious, and the recoil is just not normal, which is why players don't use it. That's basically it for 300 health for the entire video. If you guys learned anything new, did help you out, please leave a like, subscribe to the channel down below if you guys are new, and leave a comment what you think is the best long range weapon right now in Warzone.